Welcome to Jetpack Kurt Space Flight. I'm going to fly around today and discuss what I'm doing on the flight controls as I fly. I'm going to fly the Craters 10 level on the Combo 2, which is a normal flight mode. Here we go. We start out on an elevated base, and I touch to begin. Our first base is ahead of us and to the right, 165 meters. So I'm going to add power by tapping on the right. That switches on the engine. Lift up. And I'm going to turn with yaw, which is also on the engine control. And now I'm going to tilt towards that base. And that will begin us moving. You can see our velocity coming up on the left. That number 20, 21, 22. I'm going to let go and level off. I'm going to flare back to reduce our speed and come to a hover here. And our velocity is nearly zero. All right, we're almost hovering here. Got a little bit of drift. I'm going to look down by tapping in the middle. And there's my base. So we can look around anywhere by dragging from the middle here. Or if we double tap in the middle, tap, tap, it goes to the approach cam, which looks down ahead of us instead of straight ahead. I'm going to turn to address the base like that with yaw. And now that I'm facing it, I'm going to actually back up just a little bit here because I'm actually coming over it. And then I'm going to let myself down by reducing power. And I can see my altimeter as going down 36.5, 4, 30, 25, 20, 15 meters. I'm going to add some power. And now I'm going to lean towards the base and slowly move towards it and then level off. Turn to face it with yaw. And now I will lower myself onto the base by reducing power on the right. And down. Pull the engine off and we capture it. So our next base is 362 units away. I'm going to tap the middle of the screen to release the approach cam. And just thrust up into the air like that. I'm going to lean forward. And now we begin moving forward. I'm going to reduce the power so we're not climbing so much. And I can see there's some solar panels in the way on that base. So I'm actually going to widen to the right a little bit by turning and yawing. Adding a little bit of power to rest my descent. And now we got about 35 knots. I'm going to go to the approach cam again, double tap. I'm going to flare back and then turn to approach it. And line up on it and keep the going down a little bit. There we are. We got 25 meters altitude. Ease it forward. About 12 knots approach. We don't want to hit those solar panels. They will electrocute us. And then we come over the base. No controls right now, just now flare back. Let it hit the ground. Plonk. And then we pull down. And that lands us. Release the approach cam and let's look around. Looks like the nearest base is right over there at 177. So I'm going to hit the power. Turn that way. Oh, it looks like we're low on fuel. So I'm going to mute that warning by tapping on it. I'm going to turn back towards the fuel base. There it is. You can see it blinking in the distance. And I'm going to go that way. Lean forward. Add a little bit of power to gain speed. And maintain altitude. And it looks like a pretty straight approach in there, so I won't bother with the approach cam. I'll just slow up. Pulling back on the left. Pulling down on the right to reduce power. And we're on track for a landing there. Steady. 35 knots, reduce our speed, reduce our descent rate, reduce speed, reduce descent rate, whoops, catch us, and then flare off and contact. Turning to the left. There's another base. That one's a high tower base. We'll fly over to it and land up in the air. So we're just above it right now. Leveling off and descending. Again, we won't need an approach cam for this one since it's unobstructed. And we flare it off. And we land. Bumpy landing, but that's the basics.